Well, let's continue the show by talking about this one. Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. It's currently playable in a demo story mode for the consoles, and I've had a chance to play it. You did earlier as well.
Bit, yeah.
Just a bit.
You can't do anything in that demo. You can't do anything.
It's quite limited.
It makes me sad that they just didn't put a training mode thing in there.
Well, I'm definitely with you. However, I'm really happy that they did something.
Yeah,
okay?
yeah, of course,
like,
of course.
We're going to E3 tomorrow. We'll have a chance to play it. But it's really nice to just be able to, like, get a base understanding, right? There's no training mode in this. It's just a story mode, and you, as far as I could tell, can't skip the story parts of it.
I think you can. I saw Flo doing it.
I was pressing every button, and maybe I didn't
You're
try
supposed
everything.
to hit a button, then a skip thing shows up on the screen, and you hit the skip
For
button.
real?
I think.
Okay, I guess
so,
I just screwed it up then. Well, I'm happy to hear it.
I saw Flo skipping them, and
Okay.
I think I saw Maximilian skipping them.
Okay, well, the story is complete garbo, obviously.
I
But
mean, it's.
when they showed the when they like announced that they were gonna have this demo mode, the story trailer that they had. Actually, I thought kind of looked all right.
Yeah.
The trailer I thought looked all right, and then the demo story mode is like they're all. It's like all the characters show up, and it's like Spencer. Like the other characters are like Spencer, Strider, Thor. They're
announcing
Captain
everybody.
Marvel, Chun-Li. You know, like we don't know who these characters are. It's like we haven't been playing video games for like 30 years. Like Iron Man hasn't been around as a popular character since before I was born.
Right.
Like you probably don't need that. I hope that the full story is better. That said, I'm very happy that they put it out. I think that's super sick. I am really actually enjoying the gameplay.
Okay.
I think it's super open and creative. Again, haven't had that much actual time in it, but it feels like it's very freeform and creative and open. You get to move around a lot. A lot of the characters have interesting options, improved options over what they had in some cases from Marvel 3. Thor seems a lot better, for example.
Thor seems a lot more interesting.
More interesting,
for sure.
too.
Yeah. So it's. I mean, a lot of people are worried that they're all just rehashes from the previous game. Thor looks like he has a couple of changes in there. I don't know how similar a lot of the other characters are going to be.
Like I saw that Chris has like a grenade that he can set up a cross-up with, it looked like.
Yeah,
and
now he loads the Magnum. He has to reload the Magnum now.
Oh, okay.
So there's little bits of changes
They definitely are not the same characters.
Yeah.
Not wildly different, obviously, but that's fine. Look, it's not a big deal to me that they're mostly the same.
Yeah, because it's interesting, because I originally felt the same when I started seeing all the Injustice 2 characters. I was like, why are they exactly the same? But then I was like sitting back and I was like, but we want that when we see like Ryu, you know?
Right, yeah,
like,
you want to have Ryu have some totally different moveset.
Right, you want Zangief to be the grappler guy, right?
Sure.
Like, I
like you need to have some level of similarity.
Yeah, familiarity and callback, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so like, I wasn't, like... Injustice 2 helped me get over that. Let's put it that way. Because I was like expecting completely different things, and I saw videos of Superman doing forward 2, 3 breath, and I was like,
I hear you, dude.
This is still there? But then I was like, it's still there. That's fine. That's good. Because you want them to be so that people can pick them up and play them again. You know what I mean? That's kind of the point.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So no big deal for me, and especially when you think about the Marvel series history. Like Marvel 3 was kind of a departure from how previously it was.
Yeah.
But they basically just like reused the same assets for a decade, and they did.
Yeah.
And they basically had the same movesets, and it was like some other thing. The systems differed.
Yeah.
Right? But like the characters, not so much.
Yeah.
So fine with me.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, every version of the game has been pretty different.
Yeah,
like one by one. So X-Men Coda, Marvel were kind of similar. X-Men Street Fighter, Marvel Superheroes were a little similar. Then MVCI is kind of like a standalone, and then MVC2 and MVC3 were a little more similar. And then now MVCI feels like it's the next level of departure. It's always been 2 games, you know what I mean? Despite the fact that those 2 games are still very different from each other. Very different from each other. But it's always been 2 games. So a lot of people are saying this feels more like Tatsunoko, right? Because Tatsunoko had like a lot of mid-character changing combos, but not as freeform as this.
2 character teams.
Yeah, it wasn't just like punch, call the guy in there. The other guy looks like he takes forever to leave. But the thing about it is, it's just... with the moves that a lot of these characters have, it just feels like the kind of stuff that you might be able to come up with might be kind of crazy. Like,
well, I hope it is.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
I hope it's crazy because that's what a Marvel game should be. When I think of a Marvel game, the first thing I think about is wild and crazy. Every single one is like that, but in different ways, like you said, and I hope that continues. And it seems like it is, just based on the little bit of experience that I've had with the game and been able to watch of the game. What up? You are looking at something.
No, people are talking about DLC. What I didn't mention anything about. Oh, they're talking about Panther. Yeah, Black Panther is going to be DLC.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, Black Panther is going to be DLC. So, but dude, I mean, I know a lot of people hate DLC right now, but I mean, you know what? Maybe I'll save my DLC rant for another episode of Uncensored because I just think that a lot of people are not looking at DLC correctly, unfortunately. So.
No, it's a modern reality of video games. Video games have cost the same amount of dollars for 25 years. Meanwhile, the dollar has, as everything does, depreciated over time.
And all the production is way more expensive.
Production is more expensive.
Not only that, but video games have gotten cheaper over time. Do you remember buying FF6? Do you remember buying Chrono Trigger?
$80 in like 1993.
Yeah, Phantasy Star 4 was like $90, right? Super Street Fighter 2, I believe, was like $90 for these cartridge-based video games. You know, like,
I mean, that's not to say that all DLC is good and that all DLC practices are fine. I do think that there are sometimes it gets too much. You know what I mean? Like there's certainly like a reasonable limit to it beyond which it just becomes nickel and diming and like it's come on. But that's the modern games industry, and if you don't want to pay more money up front, then you're gonna have to pay more money on the back end if you want good games. You know, you guys know how it works.
And the other thing too is like when you beat like old Super Nintendo games, like and you sit there and watch the credits, it's like maybe 100 people. Now you beat a game and it's like this studio, in this foreign country. Here's the music people. Here's this. The games are stupidly expensive to make now, and it's frustrating because like now it's even to the point where unless a game, like I've heard like AAA games, like unless they sell like 2 million copies, they won't break even. Like dumb things like that, right? And it's one of the reasons why I kind of hate the way video games are going. But
I hear you. Yeah, it's a problematic system.
Yeah,
I don't love it. I'd rather just get everything up front. But that's kind of how it works. Again, though, that doesn't mean that all DLC practices are cool or fine. Like, should a stage cost whatever, $10 or
of course.
But like, the idea of it is definitely here to stay. I feel like that's a conversation from 5 years ago.
Square considers 6 million copies a failure. Exactly. And it's just like, so, I don't know what...
When it comes to MVCI, I mean, that's going to be happening. It happens in all the games, right? Every game has DLC that comes out later. It's just a question of how many characters and, you know,
I had a whole argument with my friend who was complaining about Mario Kart DLC in Mario Kart 8. And I was like, why are you mad about Mario Kart? They gave you exactly as many tracks and karts as every other Mario Kart game ever made when you first bought the game. And now there's extra tracks and extra characters that cost money. And he's like, I just hate seeing them, and I think the practice is dumb. I'm like, but you're not being stolen from anything. You have exactly the same amount of time.
Yeah, like if a game gets launched and it's clearly incomplete and then they DLC the rest of it, that sucks. Nobody likes that. But as a practice, it's definitely here. Anyway, about the game, Marvel Infinite. I'm very much looking forward to actually sitting at E3 and trying it out because as I played it for 10 minutes this morning and you played it for like 10 minutes this evening.
Oh,
God. You know, it was just very clear that like 10 minutes is not going to cut it.
Right.
Like it's clearly one of those games where you get to spend a lot of time. There's a lot of stuff to look into. I'm sure there's going to be cheap crap, like you said. I'm excited for that.
Yeah,
because I feel like all the characters are going to have cheap stuff. And the gems all work very interestingly, like very different air dashes, or you put a box on the opponent, or like your combos are they're extended. A lot of different options are involved. So the fact that it's 2 characters, when they first announced that, I was not bullish on that prospect. I felt like 3 characters is like really cool. I like having extra options.
Yeah, exactly.
But the gem edition is a nice way to feel like you have some kind of extra thing that's not a character. But it's like, you know, a projectile, right?
Yeah. Well, it depends.
Stone.
Reality.
Yeah, forget which stone it was. Reality.
Yeah, has a projectile.
You know, each stone has its own thing.
Speed lets you do back
air dash.
like air dash, and then power gives everybody a wall bounce attack for a combo extension. And then they all have a super that you can activate too. So the space one is the one that puts you in the box. The reality one, just like you get like lasers are shooting across the screen and like you freeze people in ice and other things. Yeah, lasers. Every game has lasers these days. Yeah.
Key blast.
So, but you know, like I was watching Flow stream and he was like, and it's sad to me that this is the case because he was like, I'm really excited for this gameplay. He's like, I can see so many broken things you can do in this game. Ray was like playing it. And he was like, look at the movement on this. You know, like he was doing air plink dashes with Thor. Some people were saying like the characters were moving too fast and stuff like that. And
watching you play, so James came over to my place. He played it a little bit before we went on the show. Watching you play, I thought maybe the stages aren't that small because I had told James that I felt that the stages were really small. They're like very tight. And then watching you again, I'm not sure that's the case. It might just be that you're like moving around constantly. You're like so fast. Maybe it is that they're short too. I don't know. But certainly characters move fast and there's a lot of stuff.
I mean, Ray obviously had some issues with the game and stuff. So, but like I know. The problem is, like, when I see someone like Flo sitting there talking about how he kind of likes the game and he was kind of excited for it, right? Like, people in the chat were just all, like, saying that he must be a shill or, like, he is probably not being real about it or something or that he's wrong. It just feels like right now, and we talked about this with the DBFZ, you know, the effects that it's having.
Yes.
As soon as it was announced, everyone, like, stopped having any hopes for MVCI and now just kind of were like, I want this game to suck.
Yeah, they basically took all their piles of hopes and they just like dumped it over onto the Dragon Ball game.
Right.
And not so much on Marvel Infinite anymore.
Right.
And the Dragon Ball game looks more like Marvel 3 and 2.
Yes.
So I get why people are looking at that and thinking that it's like the successor.
Yeah.
On top of that, again, you know, it looks beautiful, etc. We praised it as much as we like basically possibly could in half an hour earlier.
Right.
But Marvel Infinite is going to be its own thing. It's not going to be Marvel 2, Marvel 3. It's not going to be anything else. And that's the case with every Marvel game. Well, really every game that Capcom like does. They always do that. Some developers don't do that. They make smaller changes between games. Capcom always makes big changes, and this is no different. And I'm excited for that. When Marvel 3 came out, clearly it was not Marvel 2, right? The button schemes were different, characters were different, like assists work differently.
Dude,
obviously it was different, and people who played Marvel 2 heads were sad about that. Dude, like, they were super angry.
Let me talk to you about MVC2 when that first came out, because it used to be a 6-button game, and then they changed it to 4 buttons plus 2 assists, and everybody was furious about it. People were like, you are ruining this game. That whole like chain combo of light, heavy. Like, everyone was mad about that. Like, people were mad. And they're like, look at how stupid this game is. I just hit a button and like 1-button special moves. And like, people were really upset about that game when it first came out.
Always it happens.
Yeah.
And sometimes there are valid concerns. I don't want to poo-poo that stuff entirely.
Yeah.
But it is the case that every game is going to be different. And I'm happy that Marvel Infinite does have its differences. I think that's good. I don't want to... It'd be a bummer if it was the same. It's like Street Fighter V. It'd be a bummer if it was like SF4. It should be a different game.
Right.
Is it perfect?
Yeah,
Maybe not, but it should be different. And so I'm happy that Marvel Infinite is as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, I mean, you can see it in chat right now. People are like, oh, you know, nostalgia is a dangerous drug. It really, 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 really is. Like, I wrote a 100-page FAQ.
That's a big part of why I think this is so good. Nostalgia.
100-page FAQ on CVS2. I love that game when it came out. I love that game. But even I recognize right now that game is, like, really flawed. And, like, when people are like, man, I wish fighting games were, like, amazing like they used to be, like, in CVS2. And then people watch CVS2, look how great this game was. Dude, at tournaments, people would, like, get bored because, like, people would just sit back and down fierce all day with Sagat. And, like, people just, like, started getting bored. Matches with... I had a 40-minute match 2 out of 3 match. I have 40-minute match with Tong Ho from San Diego because neither of us could attack each other because our teams were completely turtle-based characters. It was a 40-minute match that took place at Southern Hills Golfland with 2 machines. And so we hogged 1 machine for 40 minutes.
That's a bummer, dude. There was a famous grand finals over on the East Coast between Justin Wong and Steve Harrison that lasted an hour and a half. And that's on YouTube. And you can find it. And it's every single game is a separate YouTube video. So if you want to snake down that path, good luck. Because that is a long haul.
Yeah,
The point is, games that you think were awesome certainly have awesome sides, but they all got problems too. None of them is a perfect game.
I mean, look, I'm telling you right now, 10 years from now, people are going to remember Marvel 3 as this miracle drug of just like this most amazing fighting game. You know, and that's how people feel about MVC2 right now, right? So people sitting here saying, oh, MVC2 better than MVC3. Look how many people are super passionate about MVC3, right?
That always happens.
So, yeah.
That always happens. So anyway, I'm glad that the game is different. It should be different. From what I have experienced in the gameplay of it, I'm excited. I think it looks how I want it to look, which is not the same, but still open and free,
right,
and sandboxy and tons of options, fast. It looks like it has all of that stuff, and that is how I feel. Those are like the essential qualities of a Marvel game, and it's got that stuff.
Yeah,
so
I mean, a lot of people are talking about like it's interesting because I don't feel like the criticism towards the game, a lot of it is coming from people who've played it. Right? I mean, there's obviously some who have played the demo a little bit, but honestly, like I said, when MVC3 first came out, remember how slow we were playing that game? And we were like, this game is super limited, we can't do anything. Every match was a timeout.
I was going to say, do you remember their conversations, maybe we should up the damage, maybe we should decrease the timer? People, like, it was timing out so consistently at the start. And then that proved to be absurd.
Right.
So I'm willing to wait to pass any significant judgment when it comes to the gameplay. Important to note.
Yes, because we're talking about the gameplay.
The gameplay. It's the same conversation that we had to do when it comes to SF5. I like SF5's gameplay a lot. You gotta add the final 4 letters of that word. The gameplay. Because the rest of the game is problematic. Okay, obviously.
Look, let's just not mince words about the graphics are suspect.
Oh.
Very, very suspect.
Not good. When you see it in person, if you get a chance to play it, it doesn't look as bad as some of those screenshots that are out there, like the hilarious one that Sanchez posted with the Dante one where he's Steve Buscemi.
Oh yeah,
That's actually a genius post.
But
I saw in the story mode where that was likely taken from, and like there's definitely that frame in there. But in motion, it doesn't look as bad.
Right.
Not a pretty game, but not that bad. So it's a qualification without purpose, maybe, but it's not that bad.
I'm glad that they hired the person who animated Katana's crouching kick to make Chun-Li's walk.
Yeah, dude, for sure. Like, there's a lot of stuff in there. A lot of the faces are bad, even though it's not like they're not in motion. They're not like the Steve Buscemi face, but they're not good.
Chun-Li
and that
walk
like,
looks
bizarre.
like she's a He-Man figure. Like, it's literally like you're rotating the waist as she walks.
Yeah, her upper body doesn't know that her lower body's doing anything.
And it's a concern. It's a concern. I don't think the Chun-Li face looks as bad as people say. It looks pretty bad.
Yeah,
but I don't know if it's the worst thing. I've seen worse. But it's...
I'm still cracking up about the Buscemi, this Dante Buscemi. Yeah, look, it's bad, but is it like the worst? Well...
It's not good.
Maybe.
It's not good.
Is it the worst?
Like...
Maybe.
Would I put it on the level of Ken Face in Street Fighter V?
I would.
You would? Okay.
I would. I guess it's that versus release KOF 14 for gnarliest of the modern era.
I definitely said that this game is basically Capcom's version of KOF 14 right now because it doesn't look good, and you can tell they're reusing a lot of the assets from the mobile game. Because, like, even Hawkeye has the same costume. Gamora looks exactly the same.
Yeah, Strange. A lot of them look very similar.
So they have different proportions, but they're using a lot of the same models. And then it feels like they hired somebody to, like, make Chun-Li in the style of the mobile game with slightly upgraded graphics, and they hired people like who really didn't know how to make graphics. Like
that's a very kind way of putting it. Very charitable. Yeah, it's gnarly looking. You know, it is a disappointment when Marvel. I mean, like I said, the previous Marvel games almost always reused assets. Like Marvel 2,
yeah.
A lot of those sprites had been around since like 94.
That's why there's the joke that Morrigan has the same sprite in every game.
Well, it wasn't a joke. It was
It's true.
It's actually real. From her
Darkstalkers.
Darkstalkers, CVS, and Marvel. I mean, it was the same sprite. It was janky looking even in the context of those games. So there's precedent for that. It's just, it's 2017, and I think that we should not expect what was good practice back in 1999 today.
Yeah.
Because the competitors are just above and beyond right now. We talked about the DBZ game. It is as beautiful as could be. The other ones that are around right now, Tekken 7, gorgeous.
Yes.
Xrd, gorgeous.
Dragonball.
Even Injustice, they really improved it. I know it's not. I know it's not the best, but like they clearly took steps. To like improve it. Most of the faces look great. Like there's like everybody's improving stuff.
Yes.
And then at the same time, you got Capcom, which is definitely going backwards. I feel that Marvel 3 is one of the best audio-visual works ever in a fighting game. The music is fantastic. The graphics, you look at them, they're still good. They are animated characters in ways that those characters would move.
And me and
I love it. So that was 2010.
Yeah, when that game first came out, me and my friend kept saying, why does this Chun-Li look 80 billion times better than Street Fighter 4 Chun-Li? Like, Marvel 3 Chun-Li looks really good.
She does.
And you compare the Marvel 3 to the Marvel Infinite, and it's definitely a downgrade, right? And a lot of it has to do, and a lot of it might just even have to do with the shaders. Kind of like how KOF had so many problems at first, right? Because like someone compared the Dante pictures, and it's like, if you look at the MVCI Dante picture, and you zoom in on it, and look at his jacket, you can see all this texture on the jacket. The jacket is more detailed.
Okay.
There's like all this cool stuff. You go and look at the MVC3 one, and it's comic book shading.
Yeah.
So there's not as much detail.
Yeah.
And that looks better.
It does.
Because, I mean, I've been arguing for a while that I'm just not a fan of realism in it, like being too overly realistic. So, like, they have all these great textures on. That's the word, textures. The one that I couldn't think of earlier today. But, so, like, when you look at Chun-Li's outfit, like, there's some good textures on it. But, like, the animation's not good. The face is not good. Like, there's just so many things about it that... Oh, man. Like, do they really want to pull a KOF and release the game and then update the graphics later? Or do they just want to delay the damn game and, like, maybe work on the graphics a little bit? Because...
I would vote for that.
Street Fighter 5, everyone's like, look, just delay the game. We would have rather had you delay the game, right? It's kind of like, you know, it's like, if you release a bad game, it's like bad forever, right? You know,
classic quote, right?
Yeah, it's the classic quote. So I feel like they need to do so much. Oh, people are talking about the voice acting. Yeah, the voice acting is...
Oh, yeah, you know.
Yeah.
It's not like Marvel 3, for sure.
Yeah.
Which had some awesome voice acting in it. Mm-hmm. And part of that is the writing. You know, I mean, like I was talking about the story. The demo story mode is not good.
Yeah, and I wonder if it's Disney. Like, did they, like, say, we spent all this money on this Marvel Champions mobile game, we don't want to throw it all away, please reuse these assets? Like, is that what, like, happened?
I don't know. You know, I thought when Marvel Infinite was announced, my faith in the game was high because Marvel Disney was involved. And I figured they would only accept good stuff. They're not going to let these important characters to them have, you know, some problematic showing. I felt like they would demand good graphics, etc. And yeah, you might be right that maybe I just misread them.
I mean, the only reason why I'm not trying to make an excuse for anybody. I'm just trying to figure out why it looks that way.
Yeah, the reason.
Like, honestly, I'm trying to figure out why it looks that. I mean, like, we see, like, for example, KOF. They've taken those models and pulled them out, and because they all use the Unreal Engine, they slapped it into Street Fighter 3.
5.
Street Fighter 5, right. And, like, the Angel model looks amazing in there, like with the different kind of lighting and all these things like that. And Marvel Infinite is being made on the Unreal Engine.
Yeah.
Why not just take the Street Fighter V model and slap it on there? Like when you see them swap the models, like when Ryu turns into Chun-Li and he slaps his ass and does all the stuff like that. But like the bone structure is perfectly matched. And I made a comment once and I was like, wow, this is really impressive how well Street Fighter V's engine maps the body parts. And Madge, who's now worked on video games, was like, that's just the Unreal Engine. The Unreal Engine just does all the work for you. And so, like, why couldn't they just take the Street Fighter V Chun-Li model and just, like, slap it into Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite? Even when she does the lightning kick super, it looks really stiff. Like, there's something about it that looks really bizarre and odd.
I am
but
definitely...
They all look like action figures, like, that don't really have very articulate limbs. Like, when they're moving.
Like a little Dan down here.
You know what I mean? Yeah, exactly.
My guess is it's not Marvel and it's not Disney. I really just think it's Capcom. And I don't know what's going on over there. Something's going on, though. And it's a bummer of a timing for them because they are coming out with the game pretty soon. It's coming out in September. And they've already announced that. And they have, their own fault, had a lot of negative publicity, a lot of negative community reaction from Street Fighter V. And that community goodwill is like lowering, and it's a bad situation for them. Do they release the game in September and it looks like this, or do they wait a year or whatever it takes to make it good looking? Either way, bad community reaction. So I don't know. Personally, like we said, I would rather it be delayed. Or hey, I saw a tweet from Filipino Champer the other day where he says that he asked Yoshinori Ono from Capcom about graphics in Marvel Infinite, and apparently Yoshinori Ono, he said that it's all going to be all right.
He's like, we'll improve
take care of it.
We'll improve the graphics.
Yeah, Birdie's channel will be gone by the time it's released. It'll be fine. It'll be fine, James. I don't believe that. I would be very surprised, but you never know, and certainly I'm hopeful that will occur.
Yeah, right. It'd be nice. But I don't.
It's a tough spot because, like I was saying, the community feeling towards Capcom has been going down anyway.
Right.
This game doesn't look pretty. I like the game, but it looks cool. The game doesn't look pretty. Voice actors too, I guess. Whatever. Audiovisual work in general, not very good. At the same time, like I said, other games are beautiful or at least improving. And there's a clear, close competitor to Marvel Infinite in the Dragon Ball Z game.
Right.
A very, very obvious competitor to it, which is gorgeous and looks like it has awesome gameplay, and it's the best game that Kugi's ever played.
Yes.
So going up against that is tough.
Yeah.
But it's definitely a self-inflicted wound.
Yeah.
So I'm sad for them that has occurred, but at the same time, that's on them.
Yeah.
And that's...
And
what do you say about
that? To touch another topic, like people who watch me play Injustice Online, so I stream myself learning Injustice Online. Like, you can ask the people who are in that stream how much I was hating on doing my cat stance combos in Injustice. Cat stance is down, and heavy punch. And you can look at Dante's move list. They replaced all of his uppercut moves with down, and I just
same with everybody.
I just don't understand like how that's easier.
Oh, I really hate that motion.
Yeah.
That was part of why I stopped playing She-Hulk in Vanilla Marvel. Well, no, I stopped playing her in Ultimate. A, because she got terrible, but B, because I just didn't want to do down anymore. I hated the running stance. And even in just basic combos, I would miss MMHS into run into slide OTG. Let alone being an X Factor 3 and trying to use her as an anchor.
Right.
It's harder for me. And
it's not a singular motion.
Right.
It's not, what I mean?
It feels less fluid. You have to interrupt yourself. At the same time, I know that I have been playing games with the Dragon Punch style motion forever.
Right.
And it's like part of my
It was hard for us at
movement.
first, too.
Sure.
But, I mean, to be honest
So
with
for
you,
other people, is down easier? I don't know.
What they should do is they should put an option in the game. Because I can imagine down might be easier for people on this thing.
Yeah?
Because it's just tap, 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 tap. But for joystick users, I don't think it's going to be easier. There should just be an option on the character select screen that lets you pick down, like a config, or a button on the button config screen. There should be an option that lets you change down to DP motion.
I guess I understand that, but at the same time, there's probably some gameplay aspect that would make one or the other better, like the best. Like some kind of buffering, you buffer more easily into one or the other.
Like option selects or something weird like that.
For sure. So I don't think that you can do that. It's just, I would prefer Dragon Punches, and I don't know if other people who aren't, haven't been in FGC, haven't been playing fighting games forever, I don't know if they feel that way. I have no idea.
Down will be great for autocorrects. It's going to blow up all left or right mix-ups that way.
Perfect example.
You don't have to worry about which direction to uppercut.
Right.
Yeah,
so, gameplay-wise, I think you have to have one motion.
Yeah, that's true.
But, definitely.
I mean, some people are saying there's like down-downs, like in Melty Blood, and like even in Virtua Fighter, there's obviously like forward button, down button.
But the thing about NRS games have down, like it's not a new motion,
right? But the thing is, like Virtua Fighter is not about buffering moves. You don't buffer moves into forward and stuff like that, right? They're all separate moves, and so like if I want to do a combo into a forward, which I was doing with King, right? I had a forward and 2 buttons. Like when you hit them, you're not buffering into it. You're doing hit the button, wait till this move hits them, and then way beforehand I can go forward. Yep. You know what I mean? And like get it in there. It's a very different kind of combo engine. In Marvel, you're gonna have to be canceling everything at high speed, and I just don't know if down would work for that.
It sounds like to me it would sound like it interrupts my flow.
Yeah.
But hey, we'll see how that goes. I'm not happy about it, but we'll see. In general, I just think that the obviously there's a big, we see it in the chat right now, a lot of people, even though we have been quite critical over the past 20 minutes, a lot of people are like, these shills, they're making a positive thing. Yeah. Like the level of people are being unhappy about it is pretty significant, right? And like I said, I do think a lot of that is due to Capcom. Like they've made a lot of errors in the past couple of games that they've put out. Also, unfortunate timing because of DBZ.
Yeah, and you know what?
That sucks, but that's on them, I suppose. Just you gotta make good games. Justin tweeted out
that he played Dragon Ball Z with K-Brad, and he was like, "This game is amazing. This might be one of the most fun fighting games I ever played." And everybody was probably like, "That's so cool to hear." And then Justin's like, "I really enjoy Marvel. This game's really fun." And everyone's like, "You are such a shill." Yeah,
right. So here's some old tech that old Davey picked up back in the day playing NRS games. I thought MK9 looked like a pile of butts. Right? I thought Injustice 1 was a dark pile of butts. It was a very heavily shaded and bland looking pile of butts. Those are a couple of my favorite games over the past 10 years. You just have to be able to divorce yourself to some degree. For me, that's not that hard to do. For other people, you either divorce yourself from the graphics or you don't play the game. And that sucks to have to make that choice. Believe me, I understand. But that looks like the route that we're headed into right now.
Yeah. So I mean, look, does it deserve criticism?
There's no happy end to that sentence.
Does it deserve criticism? Yes. And in fact, we've even had streams where, like, I'm complaining about Street Fighter V, and you're, like, trying to tell me that I'm being unreasonable hating on certain things, right? So
we definitely disagree about things.
Yeah, and then on Twitter, I'm like trying to defend Street Fighter V, and people are calling me a shill. Like, the thing about it is like, I understand the middle ground of things. You can complain about something and not want it to die or want it to fail. Bingo. Or think it's the worst thing on the planet, and that's what everyone's treating it right. That's why the Chun-Li face thing confused me. Yes, it's bad. Is it the worst thing ever? Like, did people not see Mass Effect Andromeda? Right? Like, I mean, the guy walk is mildly worse than Chun-Li walk, okay? But like it's there have been far worse things than the Chun-Li face, but people are calling it the absolute worst thing. Is it bad? Yes, it's bad. I'm not even going to lie, right?
But there's no need to be extremist about it because the game, you look at the game and it speaks for itself. Clearly, it's not a pretty game. Fine. Like, it doesn't need to be the worst.
Right.
Although,
just like people right now are calling Street Fighter V the most terrible game ever made, right?
Yeah, obviously nonsense.
Right.
Like,
I just got into an argument with somebody who was telling me that Street Fighter V is one of the most unbalanced games ever. And I was like, have you not played 90% of the fighting games?
Yeah, no, of course.
Before Street Fighter
like I
4?
said, you don't have to be. There's no need to be hyperbolic when you just look at it and clearly it's not good. It's obvious.
Yeah.
So I really hope that they improve on it. There's not that much time to do so. In the meantime, think about what we have been doing for the last 20 or 30 minutes, which is saying that we liked the gameplay and then basically pooping on it to maybe a level 6 pooping. And other people are at a level 10 pooping.
Yeah.
Right? But there's nobody below a 4. Everybody's pooping on it to some degree.
Right, exactly.
We've been doing that. That sucks for Capcom because they put out a story mode demo, we could be playing it, and in a theoretical cool land, we're all this is great. Thanks for putting out the thing. The gameplay's awesome, but we can't just say that because the graphics are bad. And that's a bummer. It's just like the conversation that we had in SF5, where my brother is a more casual fighting game fan. He just plays video games more generally, and he asked me,
"Okay, that's fair." Phantom, to add to his joke, people insulting Marvel's pooping level is over 9,000 right now.
Nice work. Yeah, I had to tell my brother there's probably not that much in this game for you. Because he didn't want to play it online. He didn't want to be competitive. Right. He wanted to play against the computer and screw around. Yeah, and I was basically, dude, this is not the right game for you.
That's what my brother. That's played
Street
Fighter his whole life.
Yeah, that's what my brother too. So I don't want to tell people that, but I don't want to lie to them either. Right. So it's a crappy situation for everybody.
Right.
I'd rather play video games with my bro, but look, there's nothing in it for him. So it sucks. And as I said before. It's on Capcom. They're the ones making the game. Doesn't need to be the case that 2 players still can't rematch. There's things that could be better, and they're not doing it.
People are pointing out stuff like Tekken came out, console one, you couldn't go online for a few days. If that happened to MVCI, oh my god. It's it. It's over, right?
Yeah, because the game comes in without that much goodwill.
Right, exactly.
Whereas Tekken comes in with a lot of goodwill because it's gorgeous and a great game.
Right, but here's the thing, right? I'm just going to say this right now. People are trying to accuse me of being a shield for Street Fighter V or for Marvel or whatever like that, right? I can only think of one fighting game that I've really just will not back. It's really hard for me to promote and back that game, right? But
Combat Tribes.
How did you know? No, just kidding. But outside of that, when KOF was coming out and it didn't look good, I was yeah, it didn't look good, but maybe it'll be fun to play.
Yeah, sure. So
Mortal Kombat 9 when it came out, I was I don't like the way it is. Injustice, I'm why does everybody's animation still look the same? I'm still playing it right now. I am the kind of person that I've always given people the benefit of the doubt, and games the benefit of the doubt. And even as a person who didn't like Tekken for the longest of time because I didn't understand it, and the presentation did not appeal to me, right? I never said Tekken was a bad game. I could never say that because I couldn't play the game. I can't give an informed opinion about it. You know what I mean? So, despite the fact that I didn't enjoy it, I'm not going to shit on the game because, I'm just trying to come from a very logical standpoint, right? And,
It's trying to be reasonable.
And everybody is going to be like, James, it's the internet. You can't be reasonable. And yeah, that's absolutely true. And so you're always going to get the extremes. But, I'm not trying to shill out for anything. I'm trying to be hopeful because I want all the games to be good. I want to have fun with all the games. I want everybody to have the option to play every game, and I want people to enjoy all the games.
I'm very much with you.
This is all it is. That's it. I haven't really, I haven't talked shit about any game, any fighting game to the degree where I'm stop playing this dumb game.
Sure, me neither.
Anyways.
It is exasperating. I'm definitely with you. It's a sucky situation for everybody, and I wish the graphics were just good so we didn't have to talk about this. I just want to play and talk about Marvel Infinite. It looks like a fun game. It's just that you have to, as you did with SF5, address... You have to say, I like the gameplay.
Yes.
Because the rest of it is clearly not up to par. Bummer.
Yeah.
Definitely a bummer.
My blood pressure is always super high, so I can't fix that at all. So,
but you gotta have those last 4 letters. You gotta say you like the gameplay. Because you can't be honest and say that you like everything about it, you know. We did talk about the gameplay, and we are both very...
I'm not talking about Tekken 7. Tekken 7 is amazing. Are you kidding me? I'm talking about a long time ago. Like I said, Tekken 7 has done leaps and bounds to improve their presentation and stuff. So I really like Tekken 7 right now.
I hear you, dude.
Yeah.
Well, we're all hopeful that it will look nicer, but it probably won't. So, you know, get used to it, I suppose. Sucky. It's like one of those bad news situations where you just gotta like either grin and bear it or like you're out of there. But at the same time, DBZ's coming out.
Yeah.
And other stuff is happening. And it's like everything's coming out. Right? Everything is out or coming out.
Even Final Fantasy Dissidia, which has been in the arcade for God knows how long, is coming out. Just like Unio EXE latest, right?
It's coming out. Tekken 7 just came out. Injustice. There's a new update to SF5. ARMS is coming out on Friday. There's everything. It's just a really terrible time to release a game that is not fantastic. Because if it's not... Even if... Think about this. If the graphics were like not the worst ever, but like not good... That's still bad news in this time of everything's coming out and it's great. Unfortunately, is it the worst?
Yeah.
Maybe.
I mean, do you remember the period of time where we couldn't go a week without mentioning Unio? Like, we had to keep just talking about how great that game was. Yeah. Like, I don't know. I like fighting games. I like fighting games. I want to play all the fighting games, and it's like... It's frustrating to me that people are reacting this way, you know? And like I said, I just don't feel like it helps anybody to want things to fail.
No, you shouldn't want things to fail. And there's not going to be any payoff. Like, if Capcom dies, it's over. That just means you don't get another Street Fighter or Marvel game. Maybe it's worth it, because then you get more DBZ games and more arcs and stuff. Like, okay, Marketplace, etc. Whoever's makes the best games should have the most players for sure. But you got to understand that probably means no Street Fighter and whatnot. If that's important to you, then take that into consideration. If it's not, no big deal. I certainly I don't play games that I don't find fun. So.
Right.
Is it the worst looking ever? Maybe.
Yeah.
All right. It's on Capcom. Do a better job, please. You want to
let's take a
move on here? We're just going in circles at this point.
Yeah. Exactly,
Everybody knows the issue. It doesn't look that great, but the gameplay looks fun to me. We'll see how it goes.
I mean, my levels of complaining are going to continue once we get the E3 conference stuff. Although I haven't watched the Nintendo conference yet, so.
Got it.
Do you want to take a break and then come back and we'll just close everything out then?
You got it, bub.
Okay, be right back, guys, so I can lower my blood pressure right now. So we'll be right back.